should be live. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me, see me. Let me know if the music's too loud as well. I'm just trying something out with the music. If it's too loud, then I'll turn it down. Let's wait for a few more people to pop in. Hello, hello. All good? Music's not too loud? Hey, Kevin. Hello, Sebastian. Cool. Right. No audio. Yes, sorry. No problem. If the music gets too loud, let me know and I'll turn it off or turn it down. Setting up desktop audio on Mac is a royal pain in the arse with OBS, because you have to download some app to fake an audio device and let OBS pick that up. It's kind of weird. But yeah, we're gonna get started. So we are going to be building a plugin for Filament. If you're not familiar with Filament, it's a tool stack, admin panel, table builder, form builder package. So Livewire, bit of Alpine. Hey, Ruslan. So we're going to be building a plugin for Filament, and we're going to be integrating with the Spatie Activitylog package, which basically just lets you log activity in your app, sort of like a history, an audit log. It's free. The OBS app? Is that what you mean? If that's what you mean, then yeah, it's a free app. Oh, Filament. Yeah, Filament is free, yeah. Completely free, open source. It's on GitHub. So this is the repo, completely free. You know, if you use it and you enjoy using it, all we ask is that you kind of support us back with a sponsorship, so that we can carry on working on this. Dan does a lot of the work, so the sponsorships go to him. Yeah, open source, check it out. It's pretty popular. We're 2.3k stars, so we're getting big. Very active as well. I mean, if you look at the releases page, there was tags. Let's have a look. 5 hours ago, 9 hours ago, we release fast. You want something in Filament and PR it and get it merged, and we'll pretty much release it the same day or the following day. So we are very fast with releases. But yeah, we're going to be building a plugin for Filament. So this is what Filament looks like out of the box. Hey Dan. Speak of the devil. Yeah, we're going to be building a Filament plugin to integrate with the Activitylog package. So if we take a look, I've got a Laravel app set up. I've got my package here so that I can work on it. I've got Filament installed, and I've also hooked up the package just using a symlink for now, so that we can do some dev. I live in a country where American currencies is very expensive, maybe. Yeah, totally. I mean, Filament is completely free and open source. We've got loads of first-party packages as well for some Spatie packages, some plugins. Download it, give it a try. So yeah, I've got a basic Laravel package here, just with a service provider. Dan thought you would be pairing with Ryan. I mean, maybe next time we can get Dan on. I don't know. See if he's up for it. I don't really know how the whole pairing thing would work on stream, to be honest. But yeah, if Dan's up for it, we'll do it in the new year. So the basic idea is to hook up this package to Filament. The package itself actually provides a model called Activity. Activity. So the first step to this is creating a Filament resource for this model, and that will let us build a table and a resource page for the model. That'll be the first step, and then we can start adding stuff in for the table, like some filters and a view page as well for the records. We don't need an edit and create. It's very rare that you'll add these manually. I don't see why you'd add them manually. They're meant to be read-only, sort of like a history of the app. So we'll be doing that. You can see there are some scopes here which we could hook up to the resource. But yeah, I guess we'll get started and see how things go. So the first step is going to be creating a resource. Well, actually, let's have a look here. We've got a package service provider, but I actually want to CD into the package and just do a composer require on Filament itself, just so that we can make sure this is only installed in certain scenarios. And this will allow us to use the plugin service provider that Filament provides for us. And we can remove some of this. And if we take a look under the hood, we need to register a name for the package. And I'll just call this Spatie Activitylog. The next thing that we would need to do is create a resource. No, let's actually require the Spatie package as well. So Laravel Activitylog. RPills. I just started with Filament last week. Loving it. Hope to contribute something helpful once I get up to speed. Yeah, we look forward to all contributions, no matter how small or big. We will look at them all. Just move my mic out of the way a little bit here. So we've got the Activitylog package. So we now need to create a resource. I'm just going to create a resources folder. And we'll call this activity resource. And this is going to be in the namespace of the package. Resources. Do class activity resource. Just extends the resource that Filament provides. Top marks for the pronunciation of Spatie. I think I've heard you say it enough times that I've sort of just repeatedly said it over and over again to get it right. But thank you, Freak. I suppose what we could do here actually is use Artisan to generate the resource for us, and then we can just copy it over into the package. That's probably a smart way of doing it. So let's do PHP Artisan Filament resource, and this will just be called activity resource. So let's just delete that. I think I'm guilty of pronouncing it wrong. Yeah, everyone pronounces it differently. That's the thing. It's difficult. So when you run that, you get a Filament folder, and really we can just completely nab this resources folder and put it in here. How to properly pronounce? I say like freak. Frake. I guess I say it as if it was spelled Frake. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. So let's do some tidy up here. So we've got app filament, which we will want to replace with the package name, or the package namespace. We can delete that. And instead of activity there, we actually want to use the one from the package. If I can find it, I might need to index the workspace. We've definitely installed that package. Yeah. So let's use activity. There we go, that's the one. And we've got some errors down here, it seems. So pages, we can remove the create and edit because we don't actually want to do anything with create and edit. So let's remove those from there and just fix up the namespace up here as well. And we also need to do it there. Great. So we've got a resource. We've got the list page, the index page if you like. And now we need to register this resource inside of Filament. So on the plugin service provider, there is a method called getResources. I can't remember if this needs to be protected. GetResources, yeah. So we just need to return an array here of fully qualified class names. So we can choose the class constant for that. And with any luck, perhaps a composer update in the Laravel project itself. With any luck, we should have a resource inside of Filament. There we go. So we've got an activities resource. If we click into this, it's going to have a go at us because we haven't done the migrations for the Spatie package. So let's just go over to the installation steps. Let's publish the migration and run the migration. So we've got no activities yet. That's expected. We haven't put any in the database. So let's go ahead and just create some basic ones for now. So we don't need to hook it up to a model. The basic usage just looks like this, really. Activitylog. We've got some subject-based stuff. Causa, custom properties. What else have we got here? Custom events. That's pretty cool. I think you can group by events. Let's start really basic for now and just create maybe 100 of these. So we can do that with Tinker. I am in the wrong directory there. Let's actually just make a seeder. So let's call it activity seeder. And inside of here, we can just do this. Ooh, do we not have access to Faker inside of a seeder? Let's just do it manually. So we have a Faker factory. We'll just create one. And we'll just do 100 of these. We'll just activity log Faker words as text true. There we go. So all we're going to do is 100 times. Well, that should 100 times, we'll create a log with some random text from Faker. We can run this just by doing seed activity seeder. There we go. Now, if we visit this page, we've got rows, but we've got no columns. So we'll go ahead and create some columns in our table. Now, what do we actually have on the activity model itself? It'll be activity. We'll have to do Spatie. What's the namespace? The namespace is that. So let's just get rid of all of this. Let's get the first one. So we've got an ID, a log name, a description, subject type. So these are for like polymorphic relationships, properties, which is going to be like JSON. So you can add metadata to a log. We've got a created at, an updated at, an event, and a batch UUID. So I've never seen the batch UUID. I guess you can batch create them, or create them in batches. So why don't we go with ID, description, and created at. That will be the simplest to get started. So we can just leave that. So down in our table, let's do tables, column, and we'll just do a text column for now for the ID. We'll make that sortable. Let's also add another text column for the description. Make that searchable. And finally add a text column for the created at. We'll make that sortable, and we'll also format it as a date time on the front end. Let me go if anyone has any questions. So we refresh the page and we get some columns on our table. That's really how easy it is with Filament to get a table going. Couple of things. We probably want to order these by created at descending, so that we've always got the latest ones at the top. We can do some formatting on the column names as well. So why don't we do that now? Let's do, we'll call this logged at. It's possible using other guard or table for admins. What do you mean by that, Sebastian? Do you mean storing the admin users in a separate table and allowing them to access Filament? Let's call this log date and time. Description is fine, and we'll call that ID. There we go. So we've got an ID, we've got a description, and we've got a log date and time. You can switch the guard. Yeah, that's right. So you can publish the config file for Filament, or I believe there's an environment variable as well, filament underscore guard. I can't actually remember. But we can have a look while we're here. So config filament. There we go. So auth.guard. So filament auth guard. If you define that in your env file and set it to whatever the name of your custom guard is, that works fine. Or you can just override publish the config file and do it that way instead. Anyway, back to this. So we've got our table. Let's order these by date descending. It's going to be difficult because we've already created 100 of them. So why don't we just create another 100? And that way these will have a later date timestamp. Excellent, thanks guys. Awesome finding for me. Cool. So we're on the list page. If we dig into here, you can see some of the stuff that's happening. So I'm looking for get table query. By default, I want to order them, create that descending. So we can actually just pluck this method from here, do a return parent get table query. Default sort. That is the method. Is that on list records? Can't remember. On dollar table. See, it's handy having Dan around. There we go. So we want created at descending. Yeah, the resource table object, that's fine. There we go. So now we've got our logs going descending by the created at column, or log date and time as we're calling it. So they're also sortable here. We can sort by ID. That is fine. The nice thing about using that default sort as well is that it updates the query string for you. So by default, when you first hit the page, it's going to set the sort column to whatever one you've set as the default, as well as the direction. It's pretty nice. Any other questions from people? How does this webcam look, by the way? I got a new webcam. I've got my mic on a boom arm as well, so that it's not propped up in front of me on a tripod. And a sort of like light behind my desk as well, so I don't have the main light on in the room. Looks and sounds good. Thank you, Nathan. So, where should we go from here? Should we flesh out this table a little bit? Color is great. Yeah, it's a 1080p webcam. It should be pretty good. I've got a bright white light behind my desk as well, which is not all the way up. If I turned it all the way up, I think it would be too bright. But at the minute, where it's dark outside, it's pretty good. Let's look at some of this other stuff that we've got here. So we've got a subject. Now, I wonder if we can do some magic stuff here with this subject or performed on model. I wonder. That'd be really interesting. So if there was like a way, is the mic volume a bit low or just me? I don't know, it might be you, it might be me. I can turn it up if need be. I don't know what others think, but I can turn it up. I'm not great at like keeping my mouth in front of the mic at all times. Like I'll lean back and stuff. So if it gets quiet, I can turn it up. I can just increase the gain on the mic. Yeah, with this performed on stuff, I wonder if there's a way we can sort of like detect, add an interface to the performed model that retrieves a title attribute for that model. Yeah, exactly. I was also thinking that it would be pretty cool if we could figure out if this model has a filament resource. because if the model has a filament resource, we can just link directly to that resource. That would be pretty cool. Almost like looping through all of the resources registered with Filament, and then checking if the model on those resources matches this model, and if it does, then linking through to an edit page. That would be pretty cool if we could do that. I don't know. What do you think, Dan? For now, we'll yeah, that would work. Cool. Let's just create a little class called Resource Finder. We're not in app, are we? I'm going to make this final. It's probably controversial. And this is optionally going to return a string. So we can get the resources just by using the filament facade. And for each of those resources as a resource, let's have a look. What keyboard do you use? It sounds nice. I've got a Keychron K8 with brown switches. Hot swappable brown switches. If it's too loud, let me know, and I'll like pull my mic this way a little bit, because it's quite clicky. It's not super clicky. They're only brown switches, but it can get loud, especially if I'm not talking and I'm just typing away. So resources is going to return an array of resource classes, and we can have a look at a resource class here. So the model itself is protected. Can already get all the filament resources. I've almost taken the plunge on a mechanical for work. I have one for my gaming PC, but not sure I could use one for development work. I really like it, to be honest. You know, I'm not a super keyboard freak, but the Keychrons are really good if you've got a Mac. It's very hard to find good mechanical keyboards for macOS. Even if you've got Windows, it works fine. It's got a Mac and a Windows mode. What am I looking for here? Get model. That's what I'm looking for. So, if you're viewing a resource in form view, I presume, how would you go about adding a history of activity on that resource? What do you mean exactly? Do you mean if you're, I don't know, say on the edit page for a resource, how would you go about adding a history of activity? Because you could probably do it with a relation manager, which we can add to this package. We can add a relation manager, which you can then just include in your resource. Also, I don't know how far behind the chat. I don't know what the delay is between me and the chat. So if Dan answers it quicker than I do, brilliant. Oh, Dan's message has just come through relationship manager probably. Yeah, we could include a relationship manager inside of the package that you can just add to your model. That could probably work, because you end up using a trait on models anyway. Delay seems pretty low. Cool, that's good. Yeah, so we can get the model just by doing resource get model. Yep. If model is equal to the class, then we will just return the resource. Otherwise it falls through and it returns null anyway. That makes sense. I just started Relationship Manager yesterday. I was curious if that's how you'd tackle it. Yeah, 100%. Relationship Managers are great. I mean, they'd be read-only, so it would just be a table that goes on the resource page. Maybe I can contribute with the Spanish translations for Filament. That'd be wicked. Yeah, if you've got translations and you want to help out, go for it. Anyway, we've got this resource finder, which is pretty good. If we go on to the resource, first of all, let's update our seeder. Let's just get the first user, which is going to be me in this case. And for each, just copy this. This needs to go before. So in here, what do we want to say? Is it performed on? Yeah. Performed on user. If I, before I run this actually, we can just truncate that table. That way we don't end up with a bunch of records. It'll just get cleaned out every time. So let's run that again. This is a really nice trick, by the way, if you're using seeders locally and you're just like rapidly testing with seeders. Just put a truncate at the very start. Generate your entire data set fresh without having to do like a migrate fresh or rollback or anything like that. Just put a truncate at the top. So if we take a look now, let's add a filter to our table. Or maybe a column first. Columns, text column make. The user model is going to need a trait, I believe. Let's have a look. Performed on. What was the name of that property? Subject. Interesting. Is that polymorphic? Have a look. Yes, it is polymorphic. Okay, so in our resource, we'll want to just call that subject. And here we can format state using. This gives us a function. If you're unsure on like all of these callables and stuff, there is a page in the docs about using closures. So using closure customization. And this just tells you all of the things that are generally available inside of these closures. So in our case, we should be able to get the record, and we can probably do this like so. It will always be present in a table, or at least it should. If we just DD the record somewhere, here we go. You can see this here. This one hasn't got a subject. Format state using formats that info. Yeah. Right, but in this case, we're going to be calling a method on the on the subject to get how to display it in the table. So out of interest though, is this gonna, if we put subject in there, get state using, yeah, you're right, that is what we want. So get state using, we can still put the activity in here as record. Yeah, date formatting and stuff like that. Yeah, that's right. So get state using. Yeah, I guess this isn't gonna query. This isn't gonna eagle load the relationship because we've not got a dot in here. So, a little fun fact, if you use a relationship inside of a column in Filament, so you could do like subject dot name or something like that, it will pull the relationship and do all of that part for you. So in this case it would work. If I just comment this out real quick, can you eagle load morph twos? I don't see why not. Maybe you can't. Maybe I'm imagining things. Okay, let's have a go. Let's not that. Let's do because the tables are mixed. Yeah, you are correct. I completely forgot it was a morph to relationship. Yeah, in which case we'll just have to do this manually. So you can just say if not record subject. Although it's got a scope. Subject, get morph class, get key. Yeah. Okay, we can just say if not record subject. Just return nothing. The subject. Let's just scroll down to head. The subject will be record subject. At this point, we've already run the query to get this, so this isn't going to do another query. And now we probably want to make some sort of contract. Is activity subject. That is inside of contracts. Is activity subject. And we just want them to define a get subject description. It can be a string. Get activity subject description. And we'll pass through the activity like that. So now in here we can say if not record subject or record subject instance of is activity subject. Otherwise we'll just do record subject gets activity subject description, and we'll pass through the record. That technically doesn't need to be nullable because we're in a table. We know that we've got that row. And let's just do some typing in. So this will be an instance of that. Maybe we will have to assign this to a property. Like so. And then just use subject. It's pretty clean. So if I load this now, we get empties. Let's also add a filter. So we can say table filters, filter make, has subject, and we can modify the query here, and we can just do query where the query has subject. So make it look like that. Now we've got filters, we can say has subject. Still nothing's being output, and that's just because in our app we'll need to implement is activity subject, get activity subject description, and we'll just return the name of the user. And we still don't get anything there, which is interesting. Let's have a look. Do we get inside of here? It's just dd record subject is null. That's because I didn't have the filter applied. There we go. There was no filter applied. So that's working fine. You know, if you wanted to, I guess the benefit of this interface or contract that we're forcing the user to apply is you've really got full control over how it appears in that table. So if you really wanted to do, you could do something like, you know, this.name, and then some brackets, then maybe append the class, like so. Didn't mean to put that there. You know, you could do something like this. So when you filter those down, you know what type of model it is, which is great. That's awesome. So the next thing we want to try and do is get the link to the resource, and to make that work, we'll quickly just publish is it still a publishable? Dan, do we still have the default user resource that comes with Filament? Is that still a thing? Users. Is that still a thing? I honestly cannot remember. No, but install debow and... Oh yeah, you added that a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? Let's do that then. So, doctrine, debow. So then we can do filament resource, user generate. And if we head over to the user resource, it's used doctrine debow to get the schema for the table, and then, you know, try and figure out what the columns are, if you like. So we should now have a users resource. Awesome. And that means in our... Oh, I didn't mean to zoom out there. In our activity resource, we can add a link or a URL to that column. And then this is going to be record. We'll do these same checks again. Resource equals resource finder, find for the subject. We should probably does that work? That looks disgusting, but I think that might work. If it does, then we get the resource returned, which means this is going to be a class string for filament resources resource. If there's not a resource there, and we just return. If there is, then we can do resource. Obviously we don't get any autocomplete from VS Code there, but we get the get URL. So we can do get URL, preferably to an edit page. And we can pass the record subject in. If not, then we'll return null. Now if we just double check this, string closure null should open in new tab. Let's set that to true and give this a go. So has subject. It's a URL and it links over to the user. That's pretty freaking cool. Don't mind me just drinking a McDonald's drink. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that. The only thing is, like, the link styling isn't very clear, is it? It's not super clear that it's a link. Maybe that's something we should look into, Dan. Because I mean, at first glance, I can't tell if that's worked without hovering over it. So even if it's underlined or uses the primary color or something like that, you know, that would make a huge difference. Well, we're nearly 50 minutes in, and we've got a resource for the activities model. We've got a column. We're hooking up the subject and heading over to the resource just by clicking on it, which is pretty cool. Has subject. I think that's fine for now. Sounds good. Let's do that. Yeah. What do we do next? Have a think. Let's head over to the docs. View page. Yeah, good shout. Good shout. So, relation manager. Yeah, we could do that as well, actually. Yeah, let's do the relation manager, because we've got a user model which we can use as a test case. So let's do the relation manager. That's a really good idea. So let's just commit this first. can commit everything. So what did we do? Add activity resource with basic table. That could just be our commit. Still looks better than what I've done. Well, if somebody builds it, that's all that matters. Let's push that up. If you want to have a look at the repo for this package, it's in the description of the live stream. So you can go and have a look. It's here. Oh, we've already got 1 star. Who is it? Ostap. I butcher everyone's names. I'm awful with pronouncing names. Yeah, let's do a relationship manager. So we can use Filament again. You know, how is this gonna work? So what does the... Let's just do a bit of a source dive here. It'll be easier. So there is a trait called logs activity. Presumably that means it is... Oh no, that's the trait that we want. Activities, morphs, many, based on the subject. Yeah, I think this is the trait that we want. So let's go ahead and add that to our user model. Use, was it logs activity? And we've got some methods to implement. Get activity log options. Get activity log options. Return log options defaults. Awesome. Let's go ahead and make a relationship manager. So we'll do Filament morph many. Now I can't remember the options to this, so the resource doesn't really matter, but we'll just say user for now. The relationship is going to be activities, and the record title attribute. We'll just do description for now. So inside of relation managers, we can actually just copy this entire folder over and fix this. So the relationship is going to be activities, the record title attribute is going to be description. We've got the form and the table here. The form doesn't really matter because we're not going to be creating them. The table can't we just do table? We'll have to just do a composer dump real quick. Yes, this namespace is wrong. Resources. Need to remove that. Just do a composer dump auto load. And a quick composer update. Cool. So we'll need to remove that. On our user resource, we can return this. edit this. App HTTP livewire directory does not exist. I have missed something here, I'm guessing. What exactly have I missed? Let's have a look. Any ideas? Just trying to render the relation managers. Oh, right, okay. That's fine, I can... Unable to find component. So I'm guessing I need to register this component with Livewire. Over in the service provider. What do we have here? Maybe not. Still having a go at me. Any ideas, Dan? I mean, it tells me to do that. Only registers relation managers for the resource. Yes. Presumably I can see that in here. Like, yeah, relations. Okay. In which case, I can do that manually in this case. Package booted. Let's just do it that way. Yeah, attached. I know what you meant. Package booted. We'll just call the parent first. And then Livewire component. It's activities relation manager get name. Activities relation manager. That solves the problem. Awesome. And there we go. That kind of just works. That kind of just works. That's pretty cool. That was really easy. Again, you know, all of this stuff's going to be in the docs somewhere. If we look at the resource itself, where's the morph menu one? You've got all of these options here. Things like this though. So you could remove the subject column for the RM using hidden closure. Yeah, that's a good idea. No point keeping it there. You know, we're reusing this table as well, so you could just say hidden. Receive an instance of the Livewire component here, and just say hidden if Livewire is an instance of activities relation manager, I believe. There we go. So it hides it there, but on the activities table, it's going to show it still. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I don't like that this column's empty. So in the case that we don't have anything there, let's just return an M dash. like so. Makes it a bit cleaner. You know, if I was to do an M dash like that, it would output the literal text because Filament's using normal blade echoes, so it escapes any HTML entities. But if you return an instance of HTML string, which is HTML-able, you know, it can be converted to HTML. Blade will call the toHTML method or the toString method instead. So you can put HTML inside of here if need be. Awesome. Yeah, so there's a relationship manager. That was really easy. Couple of things. Let's disable the create button and the edit button because we don't actually need those. So again, let's just do some documentation reading. If there is anything on here, I believe I had to do this just the other day. I believe we can just do can create as false. I believe that's how I did it the other day. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's no policies or anything, so I'm pretty sure that's how I did it the other day. I just overwrote those methods. Protected function can create to return false, and that will hide the create button. And we need to do the same for edit. So can edit, return false. That hides that. Actions, header actions, empty array. Yeah, could do it like that. I think with the can create and can edit buttons, at least then if someone extends the relation manager, they can override those again and define them themselves if they do want edit and delete functionality. But yeah, on the table you could do bulk actions like this. Let me just comment that out. That hides the checkboxes. Or like Dan said, header actions hides the create button, and actions empty will hide all of the actions. But in this case, we do want delete. We want people to be able to delete activity if they have the right permission, which you can control with a policy. Cool. Let's commit this then. So I'll just say feature add activities relation manager. Cool. And before we finish off then, let's have a look at the package, just see if there's any quick wins that we can get. With properties. So we could display that as a key value that is read-only. That could work. So let's use Artisan again to create a page. And yeah, it's resource. View activity resource. just nab that, put that in here. Change that to that resources, activity resource, pages, yep. And we'll just change this one as well. Cool. Let's register that in the resource itself. So we'll have view, which will go to view. So, oh no, this needs to be record. Like that. So if I just click on one of these, got an empty view page. That's just because we haven't got any form fields. So the way the view pages work in Filament 2 is it basically just disables all of the form fields by default. So we can do some stuff like perhaps a where are we? Forms. Oh no, is it components? Forms, components. Can maybe do a text area for the description. Why isn't that showing up? Let's go back. Oh, I didn't update the resource. So this actually needs to extend view record instead. There we go. So now we get a disabled text area. So we've got text area. Let's also add a key value. And what was that column called? Was it custom properties? Where properties key? Okay, so we'll just do properties. That'll be a key value field. And that'll be empty by default. I mean, that shouldn't happen, should it? There we go. We're finding bugs now, Dan. If a key value field is disabled, you can still type in the inputs, delete the row and add the row. That's interesting. That's if you're still here, Dan. I'm not sure. Let's quickly just report that on GitHub so that we can keep track of that. Where are we? Just bug report. Oh, you are. Just say key value field editable in view record. So that's a filament bug. 2.7.x 8.x. I'm on 8.0. I can take a look at that after the stream. Yeah, so let's actually just update this manually. So let's open Tinker. one. And let's add some properties. So we'll just do hello world. And if we refresh that, we now get the properties up here. They're still editable. So we just need some more if statements around that, but we get the properties, that's the important bit. Let's also what else can we output on here? You know, I think that's good for now. I think we've got properties, we've got the description. We'll leave it there. So let's go ahead and commit that. Feature, view activity page. Just need to do a poll here as well. Oh boy, what has happened here? PHP CS Fixer has removed unused imports. So just add that back. It's making me pull again. Okay, that's still fine. This one's still fine. That's good. We've got view, although we can't delete here. Maybe let's just disable deleting everywhere. Yeah, let's do that. So let's remove bulk actions from there. And let's do it like Dan said earlier. Let's do bulk actions, empty, actions, empty. No, let's not do actions, empty. Let's just add can delete. So can delete, return false. Yeah, bulk actions can be empty. That's fine because we don't want to make them selectable. In here, that will be empty. It's interesting. Did I do it there? Oh, I did. Yeah, and we can view them from the users page still, right? No, we can't. So we'll just need to add an action here. Push actions. Oh, V27. Nice. What is this? This is tables. Have I got the namespace? No. Filament tables. So this is just going to be tables, actions, link action, make view, URL. Will be activity resource get URL. Record. We need to get the record in here. There we go. So we can just head over to the view page from there as well. Nice. Perhaps we'll open a new tab. Set that to true. This is the only real scenario where I sort of like to use named arguments or name parameters, is random booleans around, so that when I look at it I don't have to hover over or click through. I can just see immediately what the boolean is for. Cool. Let's commit this up. What did I actually do? Just call it a fix. Disable deleting activities. Probably going to have to do another pull. Yep. Cool. Let's, as a last stop, we're almost an hour and 20 minutes in. Let's get an icon for this. Let's go to Blade UI Kit, Blade icons. We want hero icons. Let's have a look. What does activity look like? What does it look like? No. You know, really, we want something that looks as if it's like tracking something. Which none of these seem to shout to me. Can anyone think of a hero icon or heroicon, however you want to say it, that represents this? Maybe we just go with a table for now. Is it easier if I actually go to the... Oh, that's not the official website, is it? This is the third-party one. If I just go for like log, paper, stats, settings, I don't know. Let's just go with the table one. So, table. So we can change the icon at the very top of the resource. Just change it to table. We get a nice little table. Let's also change the name from activities to activity. So you can find that here with a navigation label. Or we can just change label, I guess. Get plural label, that's it. Get plural label, just change that to activity. Where are we? There. Protected, static, string, plural label equals activity. There we go. Perfect. The slug still says activities, but I'm not going to bother changing that. Try to overwrite as little as I can. So we'll do chore, update, plural label. Looks like we need to do a pull. Cool. There we go. That seems to have gotten us off to a good start. So we've got a table. We can filter by the subject. The subject also links through to the resource, and we've created a relationship manager that you can use in your loggable models. Let's perhaps make this, before we head off the stream, let's make this slightly more configurable. So we've got a config file here. Why don't we make, let's do resource group make that null. Resource group. I guess this is the only one we need for now, so we can group this activity. Why don't we do order as well? Just make that null. And then in here we can look for the get navigation group method, and we can just override that. Let's put it just here. And I haven't actually registered the config file, unless the plugin service provider does that. It doesn't do anything with config. Maybe it should. I don't know. If Dan's still here, what do you think, Dan? Maybe we should have a check to see if a config file exists in config / name, perhaps. For now, I'm just gonna do package or parent configure package. And then do package. I need to import that class, right? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Check if the file exists and add it to the package. Yeah, we can do that. Has config file called that. Yeah, and now in the resource, I should be able to just do that. .resource, .group. Otherwise, we'll just default to the parent method. And we can do the same for the order, or sort, I guess. Yeah, it's navigation sort. Yeah. Let's just rename the config then to sort, just so that it's in line with the property. Cool. Copy that. Resource sort, and that should be get navigation sort. So at first this won't change anything, but then if I were to just do a composer update, not in there, do a quick composer update. And just do a vendor publish quickly. What number are we? 17. That will publish the config file. Let's just give this a group of administration. And now you can see that grouped in the admin panel. And if there were multiple things in here, we could change the sort. Just for argument's sake, let's change this navigation group. Doing any Rust or JavaScript stuff lately, Ryan? Yeah, I've done a little bit of Rust. I've actually been working on a command line tool to help with processing CSV files. I work a lot with CSV files at my day job, so it saves me using numbers or Google Sheets. So I can just sort of write like just a small pseudo scripting language that will let me filter CSVs and pluck certain columns and stuff like that. I've been playing around with that. Maybe I'll do a stream on it. JavaScript wise, not really. Other than some Alpine stuff and some TypeScript stuff, that's about it. So users is in our administration group. So technically, if we change this to 0, actually no, let's change this. I think it might need to be 1. If we change that to 1, nope. Did I definitely update this? Sort, get navigation, sort. Does user need to be higher because it's null by default? I think it might. But let's just do like 5. Int. Yeah, so we put that as 5. If we change that to like 10, it'll come after. If we change it to 4, it'll come before. So that's quite handy. Yeah, let's just delete that for now though, and undo that change on user. And we'll just commit this real quick. Let's just do a pull or a git fetch. No changes. Cool. We'll do a git commit feature, allow grouping and sorting of resource. Completely messed up that commit. Resource, git add, git commit. Let's force push that. Thank you guys for sticking around as well, by the way. Hopefully it hasn't been too boring. We're going to finish up by running PHP stan. So we can do composer, analyze. That is not good. Target class livewire does not exist. Target class livewire does not exist. Why doesn't it exist? Is it just using PHP stan or is it? No, it's using Laravel. Let's have a quick look. Register livewire service provider. What do you mean, Dan? Just wait for Dan to catch up, or for me to catch up with Dan, I suppose. Whereabouts should I register a service provider? No, I'm trying to run PHP stan. I guess it's got something similar going on though. Using configuration file in, yeah, while loading bootstrap file. Laravel package livewire. Seems that others have had this problem. There's a PR open. We can try it, although we should have test bench installed, right? We haven't actually written any tests yet. Yeah, we've got test bench installed. Don't worry about the migrations. Yeah, I thought maybe doing a compose require on Livewire would make a difference, but isn't PHP stand supposed to be static? Yeah, PHP stand is, but Laravel stand is like pseudo static. It's just a code analysis tool, I think, is what they call it now. Interesting. Let's try and fix this before I go. PHP stand baseline. Temp build PHP stand. See if there's any other issues. Let's just type in Livewire. No. Just this one pull request. It's a bit of an odd one. This guy seems to have got it working by doing this. So let's just try that. Bootstrap. App.php. Do require once. Yeah, I guess that. Path database does not exist. Script vendor. Yeah, now this is down to this. Yeah, that seems to do the trick then. That is working now. Okay. Target class Livewire does not exist. We expect that. Target class Filament does not exist. It's very odd. Yeah, maybe I'll investigate this outside of the stream. And call it a day. We're an hour and a half in. We've got quite a bit done. I'm going to update the README as well and publish this on... we'll do it now. Let's do a quick release. Just call it... no, we'll call it 0.1. Not going to be any release notes, which is fine. We'll publish that. And let's just whack it on to packages real quick. Submit. Thanks, Bazan. We'll catch up soon on another stream, hopefully. Thanks for coming by. Thank you all for coming by. I'm not sure how many people have actually tuned in. According to the analytics, it says 90 people have been on the stream at some point. And the average watch time has been anywhere between... how do I show that? Chat rate, concurrent viewers. It looks like we had about 15 people at one point all here, which isn't bad. Not bad at all. Right, that's published. Just double check this. I've got the auto update changelog going, which is really nice. Yeah, I'll update this documentation a little bit, and yeah, we'll probably see each other in another stream, probably in the new year, because New Year's Eve is tomorrow. So thank you all guys for coming, for watching. Hopefully you learned a little bit about Filament, how to build a Filament plugin. We'll definitely continue with this because I'd like to use this myself. Yeah, Happy New Year everyone. Enjoy the rest of your days, evenings, afternoons, and I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.